All right, guys, it's Brian again, and today is day number 9 in our 12 days of wet shaving series. Up to this point, we've talked about razors, we've talked about brushes, we've talked about soaps and creams, we've talked about blades, we've talked about aftershaves, we've talked about the importance of facial prep to have a great shave. We've also talked about technique with regards to the angle and the pressure and the importance of focusing on beard reduction and not beard removal. And then finally yesterday in our last episode we talked about multiple passes and how to approach that, the importance of mapping out how your hair grows on your face so you're aware of what it means to shave with and across and against the grain. Today I wanted to talk to mainly the new guys that are coming into the hobby. And I really want to warn you about some mistakes that I think new guys getting into the hobby sometimes make. When you get into the hobby and you've come from where we only have one basically razor choice, the Gillette Franken razor, and whatever crap in a can is the scent of the day that you can find in the stores, and then you get into traditional wet shaving. It is very easy for you to get overwhelmed by the razors and the soaps and all of the blades that are out there, and to start chasing all of those things. And so what I wanted to talk to you about today is really, and I've mentioned this before, but I really wanted to just spend this episode warning you about chasing after acquiring razors and soaps and all of those kinds of things when you're first getting into wet shaving. We call, razor addiction, RAD, or soap addiction, SAD. And those things are great, but those things will come with time. When you're getting into wet shaving, what I want to stress is for the first maybe month and a half, for me it was 3 months, I used the same razor, blade, and cream setup for the first 3 months that I shaved. Because what is it? You want to focus not just on acquiring all those things, which will come with time, but you want to focus on good technique so that you're getting good shaves. Focusing on the angle and that pressure and that beard reduction, and understanding how your face responds to pressure, and understanding where how your beard grows, how your hair grows, so that you're shaving with the grain and across the grain and against the grain if you desire. So the first couple of months that you're in this hobby, I really, really want to strongly encourage you not to just go out and acquire a ton of different razors and a ton of different blades and a ton of different soaps and creams and be chasing all of those things, because it's going to be very, very difficult for you to get that good technique, to get that good foundation so that you have a lifetime of great shaves. And then once you feel comfortable with your technique and you feel comfortable with, understanding how your beard grows and all of those things, then at that point, as you start branching out, really what I also recommend you do is only change one thing in a shave. Don't, change your razor, your blade, and your soap all in one whack, or your razor, your blade, your soap, and your brush all in one whack. Because then it's going to be very hard for you to understand, how the different components are interacting with each other and producing the results that you're feeling on your face. I recommend, and this is what I try to do even now, 2 years into this hobby, is I really try to change one variable at a time. It's very, very rare that I will use an entirely new setup, soap, aftershave, brush, razor, and blade all in one whack. I try to just change one variable at a time so I understand how certain things are affecting the quality of my shave. One of the things you will come to understand is that different razor blades work differently in different razors, and I talked about that in my episode on blades. Just because a certain blade works well in one razor doesn't always mean that it's going to work the same way in another razor, and so you want to be aware of that. Brushes, the way that you use a brush or approach a particular soap or cream with a brush the different brushes can affect how those soaps and creams lather. Some brushes may work well with one soap, and they might not work as well with another soap. And so if you're changing all of those variables at the same time, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to understand how they're affecting each other and how that is affecting the quality of shave that you feel. So again, just to kind of wrap this up, and this is going to be a very short episode today, when you're first getting into wet shaving, I strongly recommend that you stick with a consistent setup for the first month and a half, 2 months, maybe even 3 months, just so that you've got good technique. And then after that, as you start branching out, change one variable at a time. Maybe it's just today I'm going to try a different blade. Tomorrow, maybe it's going to be a different razor. The day after that, maybe I'm going to try a different brush. And maybe, it depends on how it's going to work for you, but you may want to use that blade and just make the change for this week. This week, my only change is going to be this blade. I want to understand how this blade operates in this razor and how that affects the shave on my face. Next week, I'm going to change and try a different soap. The week after that, maybe I'm going to change and try a different blade or whatever. But just be very methodical. And especially as you're just getting into this hobby. Well, now, once you've been around the hobby for a while, you're going to be able to, it's going to become second nature to you, and you'll be able to, maybe make a few more changes at a time. But even still, I don't like to do that. I like to just change one, maybe 2 variables in a shave, especially when I'm dealing with new products that I'm just getting into my den, to understand how they work. You don't want to just give something a run one time and then say, well, that sucked. It didn't work the way I wanted to, and toss it. I have come to understand, and I've had this happen on a number of different occasions where I got something and it didn't work the way I wanted it to, and I kind of put it off to the side, and then I revisited a couple months later, and it was like, wow, this is great, or this works better than what I remembered, or better than what I thought. So especially if you're acquiring things and you're spending your money on this, make sure you're giving the products a fair shot. If you're having problems lathering a soap, it could be water issues. If you don't like a soap, you lather it and sometimes the scent will be different, or you allow it to sit and the scent changes. And so all of those things, if you just get it and you try a whole bunch of different things all at one whack and it's like none of it worked well and you throw it all out and you go buy more stuff, that's insanity. So just try to, keep your cool. Don't go too crazy acquiring a bunch of stuff and trying a bunch of different things out and then end up disappointed. What we want is people to embrace this hobby and enjoy it, find enjoyment in it. And if you've got questions or problems with something, before you discard it, and making sure that you've given it a fair shot, ask questions in the forums or on the Facebook groups, and you can ask questions in the comments below. And there's always somebody that's willing to answer and provide you with feedback and try to help you get the most bang for your buck and get the most enjoyment you can out of this hobby. So this is Brian. Hopefully you've found these techniques or suggestions helpful, and I'm reporting live from my shave den, wishing you a very happy day and hoping that you will have a day of great shaves. Goodbye, everybody.